Okay, in this video I'm going to show you the running gear. So, pop this cover off. There's the drivetrain. I'll show you in more detail what's going on there. Okay, so got the Honda GX200. A pretty good little motor. I like some of the features. It's started up right away out of the box, put gas and oil in it, fired right up. So one thing I like about it is the way the carburetor's set up. It's got, right here is this is the fuel on off, and then this is the choke. So that's a pretty good arrangement. Better than your average lawnmower, that's for sure. And then this comes off. And you've seen the throttle set up in some other videos, but this is already here on the engine, so it gives you a place to put the cable. This is a nut that I drilled a hole through to clamp the cable. Kind of a no money spent on that part. And then you've already seen this, but I'll show it again. Here's the little bracket and spring to the muffler housing there. And then show you a good detail of the torque converter. Now this was a pretty good little deal. It cost me, I think, $219 plus freight. And then it bolted right on. There's several bolt configurations for different angles, so it wasn't too hard to figure out. And then you can see the chain down in there. So that's a number 14 chain. And it goes to a 72 tooth sprocket and a 1-inch axle. And boy, on the test drive, you know, I didn't even get it up to full speed. It has a lot of torque and it really gets up and moves. So pretty good configuration from a standpoint of performance, I think. Here's the disc brake setup. So the caliper floats. Here's the caliper, and it floats in this bracket, and that bracket's bolted on, and then the disc is in there, and there's the adjustment. So I got it adjusted pretty tight, just a slight amount of pressure on the pedal. There you can see the rod, and it stopped the cart. You know, I was pleasantly surprised how that worked. The frame is 1x3 thin wall tubing. Then I had to raise the engine up a little bit to get the angle right, so I put some tubing together, welded together, and put a 1/4-inch plate, and then the nuts and bolts there, nylock nuts, so that thing's pretty stout. I don't think it's going anywhere. Here's a view of the rear hub, bolted on through the Honda wheel, and this is the driven side, so it's got the keyway in there, and a little nut to tighten her down. And then I'll show you the bearing here. These are pretty nice. They're machined pretty slick, and the axle fits in there good, and it floats, and I think that's going to hold up well. Those came from a Sousa along with the hubs, so I'm happy with that deal. And then here you can see where I bolted it on, and there's the 1-inch axle in there with a nylock nut. That won't be going anywhere. I got the Honda rims from a local motorcycle boneyard. They cost me $25 a piece, and then I bead blasted them. And then later when I paint it up, I think I'll powder coat them. The tires I got from JP Cycles, I think it was, about $23 a piece. They're 275 17s, which I like because they got a nice thick stance, on them. So the frame comes up here to the front. You got this little crossbar that ties it all together. And then there's your leaf springs. They go to, a horse and buggy seat. and they have decent amount of spring to them. And then the front axle, that's 1.5 inch tubing. They were out of 1 5/8 at the steel yard, so I used 1.5 inch and 0.95 wall. And then I made the little brackets for the, and then the U-bolts I got at Ace. So they seem to be all right. And then I took it on a test drive, and the wheels were out of alignment, so I worked on getting those lined up. And then so I've got the 3 degrees of camber, but I've got this red mark here. If the axle moves on me, I'll know it, but ultimately I'm going to move the axle towards the rear, the top towards the rear, and that'll give me a couple degrees of caster. So that should help with the steering. The steering's a little tight right now, but I think that's because everything's new. And then here's the steering wheel. That's from a Sousa. It's a 12-inch go-kart wheel. And then I'm gonna take the cover off here in the next video and show you the foot controls. So that'll do it for this video.